Hello, you've reached Callie, your AI call agent. How can I assist you today?
Hey Callie, it's time to start the podcast. Let's launch episode 1.
Exciting. Engaging conversation, expert insights, and terminate hold music. I'm in. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Call Agent AI Insights podcast. Today I'm joined with John Liberatore, the founder of Call Agent AI. We're here to dive into the story behind the company, his journey, and why he's passionate about this business. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
For those that don't know you, could you please introduce yourself and share a bit about your background and how that experience led you to where you are today?
Yeah, my name is John Liberatore, founder at Call Agent AI. And for kind of where it started, 2005, got into digital signage. And with digital signage, that morphed into other things. It basically was a tool to help organizations communicate with display technology. That then morphed into a visitor management system. So a display, instead of a paper and pen, it would be a tablet sitting there. And so you would just sign in with the tablet, get the person's name, sends a text message, an email. So we were looking for ways to improve communication with display technology. And so that's how we've grown and morphed over the years with technology.
hmm That's an interesting beginning. So, what inspired you to start Call Agent AI? Was there a specific problem that you saw in the market?
Yeah, I was always looking at ways to improve my lobby, the visitor management for just about people with accessibility issues. And so what it really inspired me was, when OpenAI came out with Whisper, which is, I don't know if everybody's heard it, but it's the ability to instead of type into it, but speak to it. And it speaks to you as natural speaking voice, and you can have this whole conversation back and forth. And so I just said to the engineering team, I'm thinking like, what can we do to incorporate this into like my lobby? And a few weeks later, we have this tablet that you could talk to and thinking, hi, I'm here to visit Joe Anderson. And it says to you, yeah, sure, absolutely. In this natural speaking voice, may I ask who's visiting? Oh, my name is John Liberatore. Great. And can I ask you the purpose of your visit? This back and forth. And it was like, well, I'm here for a job interview. Oh, okay, great. Well, good luck with your job interview. Joe's on his way. And it just says to him, what an amazing experience. And get this. Those that know about OpenAI, well, it's available in 97 different languages. So, especially if you're in an international environment, and I thought this was amazing. And I thought it did add some value. But then I just said to the team, thinking like, that was pretty significant, like what we did. But what
hmm
about we were looking after visitors um, going into a building, what visitors calling a building, because that's a huge problem. How many times are we
hmm
waiting on hold? How many times that there's just not enough people to answer our questions? Or what if you are, in Canada, it's French and English, and in different countries, it's 3 or 4 different languages. And how do you find people that can speak all those languages proficiently?
hmm
And or where maybe even that call gets with that customer support person is a little bit slower because their English is not very good. And so imagine just speaking to an AI bot in the most language that you're comfortable with. But the biggest problem that we're solving is to get the calls no more holding, no more extensions. That person, that agent knows basically what it is that you're calling about. It has a whole script and knows all the information about the company and can support you. You don't have to
hmm
get transferred from one department to another. And it was basically that whole idea of where we started with visitor management AI led me into the whole idea of a call agent.
hmm Yeah, I imagine a lot of businesses can relate to dealing with those technologies, which leads me into my next point. Customer service automation has changed a lot over the years. We went from the simple IVR systems to chatbots, and now AI-driven voice agents are taking over. How do you see this evolution?
Well, I mean, what is not cool about IVR? Like it is a formatted response. Like
hmm
first it was press 1 for billing, press 2 for customer support, but then it got more sophisticated. It said, you can press 1 or say billing. Okay, if whatever, if English is not my first language or I'm not paying attention, I just said, you know, um, I don't say billing, I say accounts payable, and it says, I do not understand. Like it's not capable of having a natural conversation. AI has the ability to say, "Oh, okay, got it. You what you meant was billing. It's natural language. It doesn't have to be so specific, right?" And IVR is not that. It doesn't have it can't understand if you don't fit the mold of what it's asking. Billing, you say keep saying accounting or accounts payable, accounts receivable, whatever it
Hmm.
might be, you're going to end up going in a circle, and it's really frustrating. I think we've all had that experience.
Hmm. Yeah, speaking as a customer myself, it's definitely robotic and tedious, especially when you need help urgently. Yeah, so one of the biggest fears with AI in customer service, though, is losing the human touch. How does AI balance efficiency while still maintaining that personal experience?
I kind of disagree because I think for those companies that are introducing IVR, or you're a small business and just leaving a voicemail, and that's the only alternative that you have today, they either are going to put you into an expensive IVR system or,
Hmm.
a simple voicemail system. Where's the human touch there?
Hmm.
Zero. There is no human touch there. And so, if anything, I'm giving you this kind of like human experience. It's not human, but it's human experience. And like you understand me, what I'm trying to say, or the intention of what I'm trying to understand. So it's a much more improvement of this non-human. So I think, you know what? I think that would have been a good question to ask well before IVR and voicemail came in, right?
Hmm.
But if you're a small business and you're working on your customer and you're focusing on your customer, it's understandable to go to voicemail, but
Hmm.
maybe not so good for the customer that's trying to call you. But you can't be two places at once. So, that human experience, I think, is was long
Hmm.
gone before, any call agents came into the market.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a fresh perspective. I hadn't considered that before.
Hmm.
AI is moving fast. What are some trends in AI and automation that you think businesses today should be paying attention to?
Well, I think it's kind of like you've had that first experience, like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you're thinking about, like, yes, this AI bot can take the call and can do that. And then you're like, what else can I do with AI? Because oh my God, our doing our quotes would take us a half a day. And so now you're thinking about what other automation, what other
Hmm.
possibilities, right? Like, case in point, it'd be like, we just recently, spring of 2025, completed Zoho integration. So imagine you have that integrated. So, typically you're on a sales call and you would then take notes of the whole points of what the customer said, their concerns or objectives, what they wanted to do. But that call agent is having that call, it could summarize all that for you.
Hmm.
And then, you have that, you make, this is amazing, right? Just that alone. But what
Hmm.
about another sort of agent can then take that information and on the intel, basically look at that data and saying, I understand now what that customer wants. So let's deduce this quote now and produce this quote. So
Hmm.
imagine, you do a half hour call with a customer, it produces a quote in like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's just spinning. Like, how much more can you do, right? This is all a connection and even more automation. So, in summary, I'm thinking the trend's going to be just more automation
Hmm.
is really what I'm seeing connected to the possibilities. And even one more thing I even thought of, like, wouldn't it be really cool if, like, you ever see like a product on a shelf and you're like, oh my God, this is great. You're like, you wonder, can I do this? Can I do that? And the salesperson just doesn't know everything about the product. But
Hmm.
imagine if you could like press a button and it had a microphone and it calls an agent and saying,
Hmm.
"Hi, are you interested in this Bluetooth mouse?" And be like, "Yeah. Can you tell me more about it?" Well, yeah, it has a range of this and it has a battery life of, and it has everything you need to know. And you have a conversation about it, and you could ask question in a natural conversation, everything you want. So it can even go above and beyond, like a call center or business, but it can go even into retail or any types of environments like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a great possibility. Building on what you just said, where do you see college and AI in the next few years as AI evolves even more rapidly? Like, are there any features or ideas that you're interested in implementing?
Yeah, well, that retail idea was one of them that
Hmm.
we see ourselves and quickly adopting, and it was so easy to really get into that sort of space in
Hmm.
terms of just the technology. From telephony is not that as simple, but something like that calls are. But also another thing, like I've had this experience, which I'm sure maybe if you have, going through drive-through. McDonald's, Starbucks, whatever it is. Um, we're blessed to be, in diversity of different nations, and where English is not your first language, and you may not be able to understand you clearly when you're going through the intercom at McDonald's. But imagine if it would be like, an AI agent that can understand you and get your order and integrate with their point of sale system to like, so, okay, yeah, and you drive up and say, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's." It could be any voice, but
Hmm.
you could probably get the broadcaster voice and say, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you?" And be like, "Yeah, I'd like to order a Big Mac, fries, and a drink, and whatever it might be." Okay, so just to recap your order, it could actually have that capability to do that. So, and just thinking outside the box, there's so many things, but if you think about where communication is a problem. Um, Another point, what about airports?
Hmm.
I remember being like, stuck in Miami, and there was like one cancellation after another. And a guy was like, English was not his first language, very thick accent, could not understand him.
Hmm.
So that capability of using these agents to talk and improve communication, where sometimes they were where so if you just start thinking where communication is a problem, not understanding, speeding things up a little bit more automated. So imagine if a flight is canceled, that will then trigger the agents to say, American Airlines flight 301 to Chicago is canceled, whatever, or a gate change, that could be all triggered and utilized with agents.
Hmm. Yeah, those are definitely interesting ways of using AI in more novel ideas. And it's also really amazing how fast the space is evolving.
Oh, yeah,
Before we wrap up,
sure.
if someone is on the fence about trying college and AI, what would you say to them?
As simple as it is, try it for free. Like, you
Hmm.
can't, like, if you're apprehensive, I think, here people to that point, Miriam, that you brought up earlier, people are like,
Hmm.
oh my God, it's too, you're losing a human touch.
Hmm.
But, you know, most likely you're already there. You're already using voicemail. You're already using some sort of, IVR system or something. So,
Hmm.
or how about it's you and you got a whole bunch of customers in your store, or you're just running to get the phone and you're out of breath.
Hmm.
How cool do you sound, or how attentive? People can pick that up, right?
Hmm.
And or the guy was rude with me on the phone because we're losing the human touch. Well,
Hmm.
as humans, we're not perfect, right? We're not always like, "Hi, thanks for calling ABC Global," and cheery when you've had a rough day and you didn't sleep last night. So, maybe it might be a good opportunity that that the AI robot can actually help your business. And so you're not going to be getting any complaints in your business. And like, that person that I called was very rude to me on the phone. The agent is not going to do that. So the
Hmm.
call agent is not going to do that. So I think that is something that I think we're going to see a lot of interesting sort of developments as we move on.
Yeah, great advice. Thanks for joining us today, John.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, if you want to learn more, please check out callagentai.com.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into the Call Agent AI Insights podcast. Today, we dived into the story behind Call Agent AI with the man who started it all. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe and stay connected for more expert insights, industry trends, and a behind the scenes look at the future of AI and customer service. Until next time, stay efficient, stay innovative, and as always, no long hold times required.